What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Case Digital. My name is Zach, and today we're answering the question of how to download images using Python. And what I mean by this is we're going to download these images from the internet. So to do so, we need to set up our environment with a couple of packages that we need to install. So to do that, if you aren't using a virtual environment, I highly recommend that you go ahead and set that up, and let's go ahead and begin downloading the packages that we need. So the packages that we're going to need are simply going to be pip install, and we're going to need the requests package as well as the pillow package, right? And then we're going to use another built-in package too. But for now, go ahead and install these into either a virtual environment, which again I highly recommend that you use. Or you can use your system environment. So go ahead if I hit enter. Now in my virtual environment, I should have all these already installed, so nothing should need to be there. Now, once those are installed, you just need to come up here and we're gonna say import requests. And then we also want to say from pill, which is our pillow package, we want to say import the image package. And then the last one that we're going to use, which is a built-in one, is from IO import and then bytes IO. There we go. Okay, so those are essentially the three packages that we're going to use throughout this tutorial on how to download images. So now let's find an image that we want to use. Well, I went and found one basically just using from python.org. They have a bunch of images for their logos, and I just thought it'd be fun to, hey, we can just grab those images. So how do we do that? Well, I'm just going to go and say a PNG format. I'm going to hit control and click, and I'm going to copy that link address, and then I'm going to come back to my terminal, and I'm just going to say image URL is equal to, and I'm going to make this a string and paste that in. So now we have the image that we want to download from the internet. So how do we go about and do that? So this is where the request package comes in. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to do response is equal to requests.get, and then we're going to pass in that image URL. Now what this will do is it'll go out and use this, the request will go out and fetch basically that image and give us a response back that contains a status code as well as the content of what the request was, right? In our case, hopefully it's all the bytes from that actual image. Now there's different conventions I've seen. You can do r equals request.get or response. I'm doing response because I like variable names that tell me kind of like what the purpose is, and in this case it's our response, right? So like I mentioned, this response will go out and give us information. So if I go ahead and print this out, response, and then you go ahead and do Python how to just run this. What you'll see is we get a response class, a response object with the status code of 200. Now what this tells us is that, hey, everything was good, right? So if I came over here and switched this M to a K and reran this, what you'll see is now I'm getting a 404. And that basically means that, hey, this does not exist, or when we tried to get this for you, we got an error. And so, hey, that doesn't exist there, right? So we're gonna switch this back to an M. So now essentially to show you more about kind of like what is within this kind of class object, and we're gonna run dir response. And this will print out everything that we can, basically all the attributes and all the functions that we can call. And we'll see, or no, this will return all the attributes that we have. Excuse me. And what you'll see is there are different things from like I mentioned, the status code, which is that 400, that 404, that 200, which again, we're always hoping for the 200. But then we also get this content, which should be the bytes object of this actual image. So to get our image and to download it, what we're going to do is we're going to say if response is equal to if response dot status code, wow, there we go, is equal to 200. I'm going to put a pass in here real quick, and then I'm going to do this else we're just going to print out, hey, error getting image, right? So that's taken care of. Now what we're going to do is we're going to say we need to get the content. Well, this is where the bytes.io and the pillow image package come in. Essentially, what we're going to do is we're essentially going to say that the image, now our image object, is going to be equal to image.open. And now we need to get this into a format that the image.open function can use. Right? So we either need a string or a file pointer or stuff like that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pass in the bytes of the actual stuff that we get from our response. So we're going to say that the bytes.io it contained with, and then pass it in with our response.content. There we go. And so what this should do is give us in a format that the pillow image package can read. And now essentially we'll have an image object. And from that image object, we can say image.save. And then I can give it the file path or the name that we want. Now we could go up here and modify this image URL and say, hey, yeah, just grab this part right here and put that in there. Or we can say, no, we're going to rename all these to whatever we want, right? So in this case, I'm going to rename it. And I'm going to say test logo.png. So what this will do is if I go ahead and run this, and really quick down here in my terminal, if I hit ls, you'll see that I only have one file in here. But if we go ahead and run this, because when we ran this before with the that TM right there, we were getting this response code of 200. If I run this again, ideally this should download an image and we should have it, and I should have 2 files in this folder. So we'll go ahead and I'll comment this out and we'll go ahead and rerun this. And just like that, we didn't get anything, right? So all ideally should be good because we didn't get this error message printed out. So hit ls and here again, you'll see that I have a test logo.png. Now if I come over to a VS Code and open the Explorer, you'll see within this folder I now have a test logo.png, and there is the Python, the image that we grabbed from python.org. So this set of code right here will help you, given that you have kind of like the URL to the image that you want to download. You can essentially use this code to download whatever image off the internet, as long as it's not behind something that is, say, like password protected or under like user management config, right? So you can use this to help scrape stuff or whatever you need to do to download essentially an image. Or if you wanted to download an image that you had off of like your Google Drive, all you'd have to do is, well, actually that one you'd probably have to get behind, that one you'd have to probably use an API unless you shared that image, then you could do something like that. But if you wanted to do a list of images, all you'd have to do is, like say you had a CSV file that had all of these, like say just a list of images to download, all you have to do is open that CSV file and then basically put this set of code in a for loop and go through each one of those file names and just pass it in, and it should download it out for you. And then you probably want to change ideally the name, but essentially this is the bare bones of how to download an image. So I hope that you found this helpful. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. And until next time, keep on programming.